Hey everyone, Jim Fitzpatrick. Thanks so much for joining me for another edition of CBT Now. We are joined by Willie Beck, who's the co-managing partner of Bel Air Partners. Thank you so much, Willie, for taking the time out of your busy schedule there to join us on the show to talk about all things buy-sell. So how's business so far this year for you?
And Jim, thanks for bringing me on today. Things are going well. It's the buy-sell market is very strong as it has been for a number of years now.
Yeah,
And the reason for that is the reason that people decide to sell really hasn't changed. It's whether they're aging out of the business, they're tired of the lifestyle, they don't have a succession plan. All those factor into their decision to move on, and there are very capable buyers out there looking to expand and grow and diversify.
sure. I would imagine the tariff situation that we spent so much time on here at CBT News as well as other media outlets has both been a huge opportunity for the buy-sell market, and as well as a number of buyers that or sellers, I should say, that have said, okay, after COVID, now we're dealing with tariffs, now we're dealing with more uncertainty. I'm ready to just pack it in and go fishing or play golf all day.
Yeah, I mean, certainly the tariffs have been a huge issue. I don't know that anyone has come to us and said the reason I'm selling is because of this uncertainty around tariffs.
Yeah,
Uh, but it certainly has helped fuel some deals. And I would say we've got a number of deals in progress right now. None of them have slowed down because of the tariffs either. Perhaps that's a bit of a brand issue,
uh-huh.
if the brand is more impacted by tariffs or not. Recently, we've reached an agreement with the UK, at least in principle, to have 10% reciprocal tariffs. So
That's
that's
right.
nice for Jag and Land Rover dealers out there that were certainly facing a slowdown in replenishing their inventory. And now, most recently, we're in a 90-day period with China
Hmm.
to determine what those tariffs are going to be. And, perhaps the administration signaling that those 10% reciprocal tariffs might be sort of the baseline for negotiations with other nations.
That's right. That's right. And so a lot of people were happy to see Trump come to an agreement here this quick, right? I mean, everyone was kind of in the industry saying, how long could this last against China, and what is this going to look like? But looks like he turned it around pretty quickly.
Yeah, and the devil will be in the details in
Right.
terms of what the final agreement looks like. But the initial word is very promising,
Yeah. And
and
this looks like the stock market liked it.
stock market has liked it a lot. And now we move on to probably some of the other issues that the industry and uh, the country is facing in terms
Yeah.
of interest rates. The Fed has signaled that they're going to take a wait and see,
Yeah.
likely because of the impacts of the tariffs are not fully known,
Sure.
and so the market is predicting that maybe the next Fed decrease might not be until September or October.
Hmm.
Although other countries in the world that we're competing against have been dropping their pricing, their interest rates, and now the other focus is certainly on the budget and taxes and whether the tax decreases from previously are going to come back in, or if a new deal will be cut before the end of the year. Again, all of that is important to reduce uncertainty, both with businesses and consumers.
Yeah. Yeah. Very interesting. Speaking of interest rates, how are lenders reacting in this environment?
So I would say in a couple of different ways. Our experience has been that deals are taking longer.
Okay.
And part of that is from the lender's perspective.
Hmm.
They're requiring more due diligence on deals. And they're also doing much more underwriting, critical underwriting, and resulting in perhaps either longer decision making time or reduced advance rates on acquisition loans
Hmm.
and mortgage loans. So certainly the lending environment has tightened up a bit,
Hmm.
and that which gives a competitive advantage to larger, more diverse groups. that have broad lending bases and more significant lenders. So they can maybe move a little quicker than someone that only has one or two dealerships.
Right, right. And then what about OEMs? I know that there's a lot of concern on behalf of the OEMs right now, and are they taking a little bit longer to decide and to approve new deals as well?
In our view, that they have been. That's been our experience. We're working with one now, and it's someone new to that brand. So their sales effectiveness and their CSI with their other brands has become a major discussion point. The OEMs are looking, for a general manager candidate that has familiarity with their brand. If the buyer doesn't, and that's just taking more time. They're also keying in on facility issues again in one or two deals that we're working on now. In both cases, the facilities are pretty dated, and they're signaling that they'll give 3 years or so to comply with the newest facility requirements.
Yeah, and very interesting. What should, from your perspective, what should dealers be focused on right now, both on the seller side and the buy side?
So if it's a seller, making sure their house is in order before they bring the deal to market.
Yeah.
If there's underperformance in certain areas or an issue, be transparent about it. Try to resolve it before the deal goes to market. But if they can't resolve it because it takes more time than that, then fully disclose it so that the buyer, knows all about it and can deal with that, or at least think it through as part of the transaction. Sales effectiveness, again, a very important KPI for most OEMs at the moment. So that's really important. I would say for buyers, again, there's still a bifurcation in the market. The best deals in the best markets are still commanding premium pricing.
Yeah.
But there's a deal for everybody out there at the right price. Certain markets are in more demand. And for buyers that are looking to continue to grow and diversify, just be very aware of your strategy, whether that's buying underperformers and putting in the best people to turn that store around,
Sure.
or buying stores that are doing very well and just continuing to incrementally improve them.
Right, right, and it's for the stores that are doing very well. For the most part, those buyers pretty much keep that team in place, right? For obvious reasons. You don't want to upset the apple cart too much once you've just taken over a high volume store that's got a strong net profit.
Yeah, it really depends on what the seller's motivation is. Certainly the seller, if they're acting as the general manager, who's the next up person, whether that's in-house or it's coming from the buyer's bench. But really all those things need to be carefully thought through as part of a transaction. But you're right, no buyer wants to go in and disrupt a well-performing team and have the store not perform as well as it previously was.
That's right. What about for the sellers that want to hold on to their real estate and just sell the business? Do you see more of that taking place during times like this, or less of that, or?
So it depends again on the motivation, whether they want a seller does not want to incur all the tax consequence at once and maybe spread that over time and maybe retain the real estate and have so-called mailbox money every month. Most buyers do want to own the real estate. They prefer to buy it at the time of acquisition because they know what the transaction will cost them in terms of interest rate financing.
Sure.
Interest rates might not be, the same or lower in the future. But having said that, as long as there's a reasonable pathway to ownership within, I would say, a 2 or 3 to 5 year period, most buying dealers can get comfortable with that.
Yeah, interesting. And there's those deals where the OEM says, we'll approve the deal as long as the buyer agrees to move the store and build a new facility. In situations like that, they're probably happy to rent the property.
Yes, for as long as possible. But that's certainly an issue that the selling dealer doesn't want to have a vacant facility in 3 or 5 years. So that's all has to be worked out as part of the transaction. And certainly in a case where if the dealer is staying and there is a facility upgrade requirement, the buyer needs to own that property to be able to facilitate that image upgrade. It's certainly
Right.
less expensive to do so when they own the property versus when they're leasing it.
Yeah, yeah, interesting. That's a great point. But otherwise, it's business is still strong for you guys, and you're still getting calls on both the seller and buyer side.
We are, and we're also getting calls on valuation work. Dealers want to know what their business and related real estate is worth,
Sure.
so they can make their strategic plans. If they're not considering a transaction today, at least in the windshield, they can see what that might look like, based upon today's value.
Sure.
So we're doing a bit of that. We're starting to get some calls on groups that would be willing to partner with larger groups.
Okay.
That's fairly interesting in that a single point dealer may realize that they're at a competitive disadvantage because they just have the one store. And being part of a group might allow them to save money on their vendors, better floor plan rate, access to more lenders, better overall consistency and scale.
Right, right. Yeah, I could totally see that. So, Willie Beck, co-managing partner of Bel Air Partners, thank you so much for joining us here at CBT News. We very much appreciate it. I know our viewers will get a lot out of your visit with us. So thanks so much.
Great to be with you, Jim.
Great.
See you next time.
You too.